BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy, and very nearly Christmas joy upon you all, or holiday joy, or non-denominational joy of your choosing. Yes, that's right, it's nearly the end of December. I still haven't bought any Christmas presents. I'm starting to get a bit stressed, think I may have miscalculated now that everything's going to shut down due to Omicron, and screw it, we're going to do a podcast instead. So it's episode 469, this is BRB UK. I am Dan, I'm one of your hosts. I am joined by Timothy Hibbs.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Yourself?
Good. Good chat, Tim. Great chat. Lovely work.
Good.
Coleman.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been a Transformers fan. Is
You're
Omicron
wrong.
the big evil planet?
He's the planet-eating mofo.
Yeah.
No, that's Galactus. You can't fool me, Dan.
No. Oh, come on. Oh, no, it was Unicron, wasn't it? Was the planet-eating
Is it Unicron? Okay.
Unicron. I mean, sadly, Omicron is not voiced by Orson Welles.
Destiny!
Yeah, I don't know who. I don't know who's got the voice acting gig. I don't know who's got the voice acting gig for Omicron.
I believe it's Boris Johnson.
Hands face back to my place. Bah. Such a penis.
Hey, that's
Really
our
is
glorious
such a
leader
penis.
you're calling a phallus.
Well, I mean, at least he's a big phallus. You know, he's a proper dick.
I
Wouldn't
mean,
have it any other
call
way.
him that now because pretty soon that will probably be illegal. They've taken away protesting, so calling him a dick is going to be the next thing. But, you know, hey.
Hey, sorry to break up this political podcast that we love doing.
That's all right. I was
each
just
and
about to
every
say,
week,
we
but
won't be able to afford to leave the house anyway with interest rates, so it's fine.
I thought it might be a good idea that we could just take a break and talk about some video games for a change.
Yeah.
Good plan, Coleman.
Yeah, all right.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what we could do
Yeah,
right now.
Oh, do you know what I need to talk about? Because
What do you need to talk about, Dan?
Because I couldn't do last show because there was a problem with my interface. I've now sorted out my interface. My interface is, well, I've got a different interface. I've got my old interface.
Is that your
out,
interface you're putting on now, then?
It is my
it?
Yes, this is my head face.
Head face,
that's my
right,
interface.
Sorry, right. Yeah, okay.
It's the bit between my feet and my face. That's the interface. It's the betweeny bit.
Hold on, you had an interface, you got a
Yes.
different interface.
Yes.
That interface, there was a
Yes.
problem, so you've gone back to the other interface.
Correct. Am I making it up? Is this not clear? It should be clear. It should be perfectly clear. No?
Backwards interfacing. Backwards facing.
Anyway,
Dan, you wanted to talk about Destiny.
No, I specifically wanted to talk about space horses.
Right.
Space
Space
horses.
Space horse. Space
Space
horse.
horse.
Is it amazing?
Put it this way: it's
Mr.
a
Z?
horse. It's a horse who
Can talk
is himself
in space.
a galaxy. It looks like
Right.
I can feed him sugar lumps, and he makes sure that good things
Actual
happen to
sugar
me.
lumps
It's
or
space.
space sugar lumps, Dan? These are the important details
Space
we
sugar
need.
lumps.
Space sugar
Sorry,
lumps.
yes,
okay.
it is space.
Right.
It is space sugar lumps.
Right, yeah.
So Destiny's new expansion, the 30th anniversary pack, landed, and part of that is we'll briefly touch on the dungeon in a minute. But there is a available to everyone game mode called Dares of Eternity. Dares of Eternity. Okay.
Dares.
Now, Dares.
As in
yes, Dares of
truth
Eternity.
Truth or Des?
No, there's no spin the bottle, Tim. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'll do. My name's Des, and this is Destiny.
Yeah, Des Tinny. Now he drinks out of tins, not
That's
bottles.
it. My name's Des, and this is my
My
six-pack,
tinny.
now 4.5 pack, and these are my tinnies.
Yeah, exactly. Des Tinny. So I thought, okay, great. It's a 6-player cooperative mode. Brilliant. Loving some of that. Turns out it's a game show hosted by Zer, aka
Des.
Squidface,
Right.
Your
and
favourite?
his majestic paracausal horse,
Hold
aka
on.
Space
Des.
Horse.
Is it Squid Face games? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, possibly. Good. Well done, Tim.
Oh, that's the clip. We've done it. We've done it, guys. We've done it. Hold on. It's the funniest thing Tim's ever said.
Well
it's
done.
The sharpest his wit has ever been. We can now pack up the podcast. It took us 469 episodes, several bonus episodes, interviews. We've done it. We've finally done it, guys.
Wow.
We can call the podcast over.
I'm
Play
done.
the music.
See ya.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
Sorry. Horse.
Space Horse.
Space Horse.
So yeah, intergalactic Space Horse. Basically the whole purpose of the game is to please the intergalactic Space Horse, who if you do well,
you have to pleasure the intergalactic Space Horse.
Yes, you have to pleasure the intergalactic Space Horse by completing tasks which please intergalactic Space Horse.
I think I saw that in a Tom Green film once.
Intergalactic Space Horse Taskmaster, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, except the horse is somehow smaller than
he's done it, ladies and gentlemen. He's ruined all the work that he just did. He's made the worst pun. Mm-hmm. The wit is dull once again.
Sorry.
So,
had to crash land.
So, yes. That's okay. One of the best things, if you're going to play this game mode, I recommend that you put on subtitles. Okay. Not only because there's a lot going on sometimes.
For the Space Horse, or just in general?
Specifically for Space Horse, because he will let you know if you have pleased him via the medium of subtitles by having such nuggets as elated wicker,
ooh,
majestic bray, amused ninny. It's absolutely brilliant. That's just worth the price of admission, which is nothing, admittedly, alone. But it's a really fun game mode. There's lots of loot to earn. It does feel a lot more fleshed out than a lot of the other kind of 6-player activities that they've recently brought to the game. But also, alongside that, if you have paid Bungie some money, you also get access to... Yeah, I know you haven't, so you won't have access to this, Tim. But if
I have in the past. Do I need to pay more money?
Yes, of course you do, because that's
I've given him quite a bit of money now. I mean, I bought a game for Tim, as well as myself.
I know, that game you bought for Tim, okay, you now have free, right?
Yeah.
But the new version, you need to pay more for it, all right?
That's fine.
Brilliant.
He's got a wobbly table. That's where the game's gone now.
I love it. I love it when I get the opportunity to talk about Destiny. It goes so well.
I love when you get to talk about Destiny.
Yeah. But anyway, I
learn so much.
I know you do. It's your own time you're wasting. And the dungeon is very much pirate themed. Okay.
Pirate themed dungeon.
So it's pirate themed dungeon is pretty awesome. I know that pique your interest, Coleman. So the setting of the dungeon is Bungie taking the mick out of themselves. Where if you remember all the way back in Destiny 1, there was this area called the Loot Cave where they forgot to put a timeout on an enemy spawn location. Enemies would just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. People would farm them to get them to drop loot.
It was an easier way to grind for loot than playing the actual game.
Absolutely. But the dungeon is set in the Loot Cave. And it starts out in that same area where you're shooting endless waves of enemies to pick up engrams, which are the things in which loot drops in Destiny, to kind of charge up the the entry doorway. And the whole thing is follows the story of this guardian who went down into the loot cave to find the best loot. And of course, the best loot in the game for Destiny 1 was Galahorn, the rocket launcher. And it's all about him slowly losing the plot as he chases more and more loot. He turns on his mates, he goes a bit batty, shoots his own ghost, realises that was a bad idea because he's broken his leg and can't fix his leg. And yes, but one of the things you'll be pleased to know, Coleman, is that there are some top-drawer pirate-based puns in there.
Arr.
So the M-Boss...
Sit on me cutlass, fair young maiden.
So the M-Boss has got, who is the captain of notional pirateness, he has a little kind of robotic friend, a robotic minion, whose name is RM-80, or R-Matey! And that is just That is just fantastic. I'm just so pleased they put that in the game. Well done, Bungo. Well done.
That is a meme on level of 1998. So I've seen that. I've seen that in coding.
Yes, indeed. So, but in all seriousness, it's
open me booty and take a peek.
Wow, jeez. Hemorrhoids much?
Come over out of a plunder.
But yeah, it's, if you're a fan of Destiny, you've probably already picked it up. It's nice that they've put a new free-for-all game mode in there as well with some pretty good loot. But if you want the dungeon, I think it's like 20 quid or something like that.
What if I'm a fan of Destiny and I haven't picked it up?
Then tough titties.
I just like the idea of Destiny.
£20
if you like the concept
for a
of Destiny.
pirate-themed loot cave.
Dude, it's a pirate-themed loot cave.
Does look pretty cool.
£20?
Dan, I have a problem with the festivities going on once again, and it is the same problem I had before.
Okay.
So you can unlock prizes, and those prizes being you can buy stuff from them.
Yes.
Like jackets and that.
Yes. I know.
People want to, though. There's enough of a queue of people that
so
want to do
annoying. I got it when they went, okay, look, here's a raid at the end of the... And I thought it was stupid at the time, but still, I kind of got it. At the end of the raid, they go, hey, if you beat this raid, or you're the first people to beat this raid, or you beat the raid within this time, then you get here's a link to buy this jacket to say, look, I beat the raid. It's the only time you can buy this jacket. I'm the only person that can have this jacket. I kind of got that, but I still think if it was such a limited thing, give them away. You've already got their money. They're talented enough to get through. Send them the damn jacket. It doesn't even have to be a jacket. T-shirt. Make it cheaper. Who cares?
Although the world's first people do get like a WWE style championship belt.
Okay, that does sound cool.
And they get that free.
Coleman's back on board.
But now
he's going to be playing Destiny.
Belt.
I do like me a championship belt.
You do.
The one that, but now I don't get is it's not a case of I beat this raid, now I can buy this thing to say I beat the raid. It's like, okay, now you can do these things to buy all these different things. One of them being, and I saw it and I thought, ooh, Dan's Christmas present sorted. You can get a Nerf Gjallarhorn, but you have to do something in the game to get the opportunity to buy a Nerf Gjallarhorn.
I mean, I'm with you. It is like, it's like, hey, look, if we have got enough dosh out you for the microtransactions in here as well as the expansion, why don't you play the game and then earn the right to spend more money with us?
Look,
That's maddening.
I'll give you two sides of things. One playing slight devil's advocate. Like, at least in that system, they know that those sales are solely going to fans and not going to people that are going to put it on eBay. That's quite a good thing.
Well,
but also, Coleman, my problem with Destiny from the very start, from Destiny 1 and all the way through, is not that I didn't like the game, it's that I didn't like the business model. Look how much happier I am with Halo Infinite and getting free access to that kind of through Game Pass versus the business model of, paying Bungie money. And like, I'm more likely to give 343 money in their business model than I am going forward with a Bungie game, with a Destiny game in the format that it's in. £20 for a loot cave. Anyway,
Dan, I hear some of the loot is Halo themed. There are Halo weapons that are cleverly disguised, not as Halo weapons.
There's a battle rifle, a plasma sword. One of the exotics is Chief's pistol.
Nice.
And there's some other marathon theme loot in there as well. But I mean, I'm Microsoft must have been in a very generous mood to let them kind of dip back into there, because Microsoft now owns the IP for all of those things.
Yeah.
And indeed, the bit where you go and pick up the exotic that is kind of Master Chief's pistol, you actually go to like the cryopod that he's in. It's like a replica of the cryopod.
Oh, okay. But is this licensed stuff, or is this legally different looking stuff? Kind of Borderlands series.
I very much get the impression that it's with Microsoft's assent. Yeah. I don't think, because obviously, although the games came from Bungie initially, all of the IP is now owned by Microsoft.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to have a crossover, though, no?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, it could be very interesting because Microsoft's very recently done an interview where they've said, "Hey, we feel bad about what we did to Lionhead, and like we shouldn't have let them go, and wish they were a more profitable studio that we could have put to use because that is something big pedigree to the studio." The idea that Bungie were this big, they were the Xbox big boys, and then they went off to Activision and then didn't really pan out with Activision and then have gone off on their own. Maybe Xbox is turning around and going, "Ooh, come over here, maybe combine with 343. Maybe you can work on something combined. Maybe Halo does tie into Destiny somehow in the far future."
Well, I mean, the way they try and get away with it is that it's not a metaverse. Okay, we're going to go one above a metaverse. We're going to go to a paraverse. Okay.
It's like a metaverse, but it's parasitic.
It's like a metaverse, but
which
it's
is a
got blue
metaverse
badge where it can park anywhere. It's like a metaverse, but got a blue badge so it can park anywhere. Is basically what it comes down to. I see Tim just rolling his eyes at that.
No, I wasn't. I was looking up and doing something.
Fair enough.
It's hard to tell with the internet.
So they've said that Xur is kind of bringing things from the Paraverse, and the implication is that they're all parallel universes, and that kind of the streams are being crossed by Squid Face and his space hoss.
Wait, he's got Ghostbusters in there too.
Why not? Screw it. Yeah, why not? I know, right?
I'm back into Destiny now, lads.
So wrestling belts, pirates,
Proton packs.
There's not much more they can do to drag you in.
I'm talking about Destiny since
Pirates, protons, and pyros. Those are my jam.
The one thing that I think I've annoyed people with, though, is that Space Hoss...
Your face.
Yeah, well, that. Space Hoss has just, for some reason, just made me relive Father Ted circa 1993 with My lovely horse riding through the fields. Yeah. It's brilliant.
I'm glad we got that to sync up.
It's such a good episode, that Father
My
Ted.
lovely horse. No, anyway. I am happy you are happy with Destiny.
Thank you,
once
mate.
again, as I do every time you talk about Destiny, I go, maybe I'll reinstall and play some Destiny. I never will because it takes up too much space on my tiny, tiny little Xbox Series S. Maybe I could do it on the PC. Maybe we could do some PC Destiny. I can. I was playing it on PC before. I was enjoying it. And then... although I was replaying the opening missions and whatever that storyline is called, and that isn't available anymore.
Yeah, it's
in a really weird place for new and returning players. That
Basingstoke.
Yes. Well, you say that. It's more in Minchinhampton. Actually, is a strange place it's in. A big up the Minchinhampton. Stroud massive. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird because there's still like some legacy stuff from like where Cade was still a character, which he now no longer. Obviously, spoiler alert, he's carked it.
What?
I know, but there's still some strikes from the very original bit of the game before all of that happened. It's in a bit of a mess from a kind of story arc point of view. So I think they're starting to pay a bit of attention, and that's one of the reasons why I think they're pulling stuff out, is so they can kind of refactor it and put it back in with a story arc that actually makes sense in the totality of the game now. But anyway,
stuff with, sorry, just out of my own morbid curiosity, the stuff with Cade, so he's Nathan Fillion.
Correct.
But then Nathan Fillion had work commitments with the rookie, I think it was, and then they replaced him with Nolan North.
Of course. The two are interchangeable.
Apparently so. Even though when Nolan North plays Cade 6, he sounds a lot like Nolan North instead of.
I will hear none of this nonsense.
It's like, Cade 6. All of a sudden, he sounds like electronic Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I know, right?
So do we still have the content with both Cade 6? Because they have the Ghost.
Yeah,
the
so
Ghost
there
was.
is. So some of the original strikes in the original game. It's Nathan Fillion, Cade 6. And then in the little bit of, so kind of the beginning of the Forsaken campaign, which is leaving the game when Witch Queen comes out in February, that's Nolan North playing Cade.
Okay. All right. I just wondered if they had those two things at the same time, because we had remember the whole Ghost was Peter Dinklage, and then it was Nolan North, and then they went through and just replaced all of Dinklebot's voice with Nolan North's voice, and then they brought him back for that quick cameo where Ghost starts malfunctioning a little bit and suddenly turns into Dinklebot, and then goes back again, and that was cute. All right, yeah, I just wondered if they had the two actors coinciding that don't sound like each other.
Yeah. So there we go. So anyway, that's Destiny. You'll be pleased to know there's no more Destiny releases until February next year, Tim.
I thought you were going to end that with no more Destiny releases. But anyway.
Ever.
No, you miserable kid. There's more.
Yeah. Tim, you've been playing Asteroids Recharged on the Switch.
Yeah, and I was given
How is 1977?
I was given a review copy of this, so I got it slightly ahead of release, but it came out a couple of days ago now. So
what, you travelled back in time to 1976?
By the time you're hearing this on the podcast, it is available on Switch and other platforms. I believe on Steam it's £8 and I'm $7.99, and I believe it's the same price on Switch, and probably a similar price on other platforms.
By Grabthar's hammer.
I don't know if you've seen, but there has been two other games kind of given the recharged treatment before this as well. Centipede and Black Widow. And yeah, Asteroids would probably be my pick of the three. Out of the three classic arcade games, Asteroids is probably the one that I played more of when I was younger in arcade form, and then later on consoles and stuff as well. And yeah, there have been a few different variations on Asteroids. I assume most people are familiar with the general setup of the game. Spaceship in the middle of the screen initially. You can turn in 360 degrees and you shoot at rocks that get slightly smaller as you go until they get down to the smallest ones that you then destroy. And
I have a question.
Yep.
Is it more like Deep Impact or Armageddon?
Neither.
Those are the same film.
Exactly the same thing.
Right, okay. They're all the same. Brilliant, gotcha.
According to the 90s.
Every role in both films played by Morgan Freeman. Amazing performances in both films. But
wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
What a guy.
But yeah, apart from the bits played by Bruce Willis. But anyway, but yeah, Asteroids.
I've got to put a drilling
Recharged,
machine.
As I said, there's been a few different variations of the kind of different rule sets and stuff like that. But this is the classic kind of, as I remember it at least. I don't know if this was any different, but you can press a button to kind of warp somewhere if you're about to get destroyed by something. And generally, yeah, asteroids are part of your problem, but you're having a bad day in the asteroids office if you get destroyed by an asteroid. Generally, the things that are firing stuff at you, spaceships and stuff that come in, are the general kind of, enemies that you've got to be wary of. You can also boost around the screen to like propel yourself forward and move yourself out of the way of harm as well. But yeah, so it uses the kind of classic rule set. Apart from, as I remember it, the original arcade and the original kind of setup for this, or you always had 3 lives. You had the original ship and 2 extra lives, and then could earn extra lives as you're going through. This setup in Recharged is just a single life only, basically, for the arcade mode at least. And yeah, it's just a one run, try and get your highest score as possible. Waves of ships and asteroids. The major difference, apart from, and this very much reminded me of Geometry Wars and the kind of treatment that gave and the kind of upsurge that gave and things. And it's been given the neon treatment. It's got a bit of a thumpy background type thing. And then they've given the major gameplay difference is you get a load of different weapon upgrades. So there's a mirror which basically
including Master
allows...
Chief's pistol.
Yes, you can pick up Master Chief's pistol. But there's Mirror, which allows you to shoot forwards and backwards at the same time. There's like Rapid Fire, which allows you to shoot rapidly.
I had a stump bug like that once.
There's side shots, I think it's called, where it shoots either side of you but allows you to shoot forward as well. So that one's quite good. And then there's like ones that do like bullet trails that allow your bullets to continue for longer than they would and bounce around a lot. And there's like burst fire ones.
Trigonometry.
Weapons like that. There's some that you have to be a bit tactical with. The main one being there's like a big laser beam, but once you get that, it takes a second to power up, and then you have to kind of arc it round. And you're very slow while moving through that, so you've got to be a bit careful when you trigger that as to when things are coming at you and stuff like that. It's a faithful remix and a good job of doing that just on the arcade-based thing. It's got like high score tables. I think I was in the top 20 at one stage, or maybe even top 10 of the.
How many people were playing at that point? Tim?
At the when I was.
How many people were playing at that point?
When I was playing, there was at least 50 to 70 people playing, because I think one of my original scores was
so
kind
you're
of
in
that
the
low.
top 50%.
But yeah, exactly. So there's not many people playing it at the time that I did, that I was playing it. But yeah, like anyway, I'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, basically the arcade mode in itself is just quite quick to play. I think it's sort of 3 to 5 minute bursts kind of idea. And then it almost always gets a bit overwhelming, basically. You can like dodge and move and duck and dive, but generally you will get shot by aliens.
But you're in the ship, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. But yeah, that in itself is quite good fun. There's also a set of challenge modes that are all kind of scenario-based things, generally based around one of the weapon upgrades. So it'll be like you're surrounded by a load of rocks and you've got this upgrade and you need to destroy a certain number of small rocks or achieve a certain score in a certain time. And there's I've seen about 30 or so challenges so far. They only unlock as you go, and you can't scroll across to see how many more there are. But yeah, like each of those takes, a kind of few minutes of time. They've all got online scoreboards for like how quickly you get through them as well. A few of those, I'm number 1 in the world, or I was at one stage. But yeah, I got to the point where there was like me and 2 other people on the scoreboard at some stages as well, basically. So that's not too much to shout.
Right, so everyone was guaranteed a podium finish, is what you're saying.
And by the time,
stop bragging over nothing. You're starting to sound like Maddox.
But that's the thing. By the time the general public get to this, there'll probably be a few more people on the scoreboards. But yeah, it didn't necessarily create the best first impression, because I was like, oh, is that it? No extra lives, no other modes. But like the arcade mode, just purely being that, is I actually quite like, and I quite like the fact that it is in like quick bursts and you can kind of just go straight back into it and play another round. And I ended up playing and enjoying it more than I thought I would from my initial interaction with the game. And then those challenge modes just add an extra little bit. For £8, as I said, I would send a review copy, just take that with a pinch of salt, but for £8 I think that's a reasonable package for what it is, basically. And also I noticed on Steam,
I do like a reasonable package.
Yeah, I noticed on Steam they do a bundle where you can get this Centipede recharged and Black Widow recharged for about £20 as well. I don't know if those bundles extend to other platforms as well. And yeah, just as I was playing on the Switch, I think it's quite a good fit for the Switch. It's a nice little pick up and play, and a good faithful recreation with a nice twist on it of an original arcade classic. And done well. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I recommend it for that sort of price as well.
Jolly good.
Do you guys want to hear about some news?
Oh, please, Coleman.
Yeah.
Tickle my fun senses with it.
Well, in the opposite of a basically news segment, well, it's not really an opposite. In a similar to basically news segment, but not Tim. Dan,
right.
You've got one you want to kick us off with?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to
and
be
it's
another
not
week.
Good.
It's not good. Another week, another set of tales about, frankly, disappointing conditions in which people are expected to work in the video games industry. And this time it's Bungie.
Yeah.
So back on, I think it was just after we recorded last time, back on 10th of December, IGN published a very in-depth, long-form article talking about the kind of work environment people are experiencing there. And this was kind of really on the back of the announcement that Bungie made in September of this year, where they kind of spoke publicly against toxic work culture, recognizing their shortcomings, committing to doing better. But there have been a number of anonymous reports who were interviewed by IGN saying, actually, our experiences are a incomplete contradiction to what was said. Now, splitting this up into various bits. So that was a statement made in September where they said they are now going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
September to December is, with the best will in the world, it's very unlikely to have a massive sea change in organizational culture in terms of finding and rooting out all the bad apples. Okay, so that's not to say that's excusable and that these people continue behaving like that, but, that's just one thing to say. And some of the stories go back as far as 2011. So, I mean, it sounds like it's the take of this particular article kind of extends, although it does include gender discrimination, sexual or discrimination based on sexual orientation. It actually goes a bit more. It's even more insidious than that. It is kind of a history of microaggressions, people being bullied by senior members, by members of what are called the old guard, having their work cheapened, people being called out in front of their colleagues with comments such as, "What is it that you do here exactly?" That kind of stuff.
That's scathing.
And like, and kind of and it seems to be based a lot on the experience of the narrative team here, who have been under flack. Have had. They've been through a tricky time with the narrative of Destiny. There's no two ways about it. But it was things like the old guard, as they're referred to, deciding they didn't like the way the new guard were taking things. They didn't like the narrative direction. So, like, they would, the old guard would have the scripts with them, and on the way to the voice recording session, decide to change stuff and not tell anybody about it. And
very unusual,
which is really undermining for the hard work that the narrative team have put in. And it's unfortunately very endemic, I think, of a lot of these companies who did start out as a rather self-selecting group of mates who became very successful, and a company's grown up around them, and they've kind of still think that their word is gospel and they can do whatever they like. I'm not saying all games companies that started like that are that way, but it seems very much that. And I think the one thing is that at least, Bungie's CEO did respond, I think, within hours of this article going live, basically saying, "Yep, we agree. That's not good enough and we're embarrassed by it. Here are the things we're implementing to change these things. We're not making an excuse for what went before, but we're recognizing that it's not right and we want to do better and we need people to help us do better." So again, I'm not excusing Bungie or any of the management at Bungie for this behavior. Be it unwarranted discrimination. Well, all discrimination is unwarranted, but you know what I mean. The kind of toxic work environment, the belittling of people, all of that is just awful. And I've worked in places where people get belittled, and it's awful. It gets under your skin. It really destroys your self-worth, and it's horrible that it happens, especially and Bungie, I think what the thing that really made this hit the headlines was the fact that Bungie often, even way back into Halo 2, Halo 3 days, really tried to portray themselves as, hey, look, we're a chummy bunch of people, we're nice guys and girls, we really care about everyone. But actually,
our security guard has a gravity hammer, isn't that quirky?
Exactly. And it just seems a bit of a shame. And I think the fact that they're being at least a little transparent about where they're at, where they want to go, and what they're doing to get there, that's better than...
Yes, it's a better reaction than some companies have had recently, basically.
Exactly.
However, it's good that they got out of it quickly as well, and it was from the top, and it wasn't just a what do they call them? The PNG, the JPEG apology on Twitter, and it's from the company or from some PR or whoever's dealing with social media accounts. It's good that it's from the head and it's done quickly. Not excusing, environment shouldn't have been there in the first place. Unfortunately, not just video game industry. We've talked about it on the show before. It seems if you work in an office of any kind or supermarket, you could work anywhere where there's a lot of people. The minute someone gets a modicum of power, some reason it just turns them into the biggest dickhead you've ever seen, and that doesn't seem to stop going up. There are some people that are just wired to be absolute pricks, and that seems very rampant in. And you'd think in something like movies, TVs, video games, anything like that that's very forward facing. You constantly under public scrutiny. You behave yourself, but it still happens, and so it's good that this stuff comes to light. And interesting that it leaked through IGN, because IGN usually they'll pick up the report that someone else has done. It'll get put out by Jason Schreier or someone, and then IGN will go, "Oh yeah, this happened." Very rarely do I see them be the ones to go, "This is the expose, and we're putting it out." So props to them for maybe there's a change happening in all the games media.
Yeah, and I think that actions will always speak louder than words, and I hope Bungie keeps this line of communication open, continues to be open and honest, and are willing to be challenged on this in a public forum. Again, the fact that it happened isn't excusable, and the fact that it still hasn't stopped happening also not excusable. But I think the more open and honest people can be about their experiences, and if you've been treated badly, you should come forward. You should, in a way that protects yourself, obviously, but if at all possible, come forward, because if you keep silent, you're not challenging it. You're not helping. I mean, I know it's really easy for me to say that. I know it's so easy for me to say that, but put pressure on the people around you to be better. Try and do that if you can. And, eventually things will change. I think that so much has been brought to light in the industry in the past couple of weeks and months that it's now blatantly obvious that this is a pretty endemic problem. And, it's very sad. And it's something that needs to change. But now people are aware of this, and a light is being shone on it, finally. And that's one of the first steps to hopefully these things changing. So, as someone who's worked in toxic work environments myself, I know how horrible it can be and how undermining it can be. But I hope that there is at least a demand for change from a very, from a kind of community point of view, in terms looking at these game studios as people who have the choice to buy or not to buy their products. Hopefully that's gonna, people will vote with their wallets and vote with their feet.
Exactly. Right. We did actually, on similar lines, if we're bringing this up as well, we did miss a couple of things last week, and one of the biggest bits of news we missed was the whole thing about one of PlayStation's designer engineers got caught by a YouTube channel that were performing a sting where they posed as a 15-year-old boy, and met this person on Grindr, spoke to this person on Grindr, and then turned up at their house. But really, it was this Sting channel, much in the same way as you may have seen the Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator show about 10 years ago. They do a similar thing on YouTube. I don't want to give kudos to the channel. I don't want to give kudos to that style of entertainment that they do, because they do it for the clicks and the money and stuff. Because a lot of those cases, they don't follow protocol correctly, and it can lead to evidence then being admissible and people then, this being thrown out in court. It was a big problem with the Chris Hansen thing to start with. That's why that show doesn't exist anymore. It's a big problem on YouTube and Facebook. The other problem is there are a lot of these shows which you don't know. They do a Facebook thing where some bloke puts out a video and he chases a guy who's an alleged paedophile around and goes, "Why don't you admit to what you did? And rah, 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 you're a paedophile and I'm going to follow you around." And what you don't realise is before he started recording, he's gone up and gone, "Give me £200 or I'm going to say you're a paedophile on the internet." So this stuff does happen. And I'm not saying, and it does, it happens a lot. You'd be surprised with the amount of times this stuff happens. So I don't want to give kind of popularity to the sites for doing that, but if true, and it does look like it's a true thing, horrible. PlayStation fired said employee. I think they were there 8 years. So good on PlayStation for getting rid of them. But horrible thing, all sides. Little bit of comedy out of it that he answered the door to, prepared for a 15-year-old boy being recorded wearing a PlayStation 5 t-shirt. That is the worst look that could happen.
Oof.
Yeah. But it happened. We can get over it. We were going to talk about it in more depth last week, but do you know what? Halo just really took over the show, and that's my fault because I brought Bleezy on. But we miss Bleezy, so we like getting him on stuff.
Yeah, it's good having a chat.
Bleezy. He did a good job,
So,
I thought. Good for you,
We missed
Bleezy.
an alleged nonce. Anyway, the real news, the news we got to get through about video games, and I'll do this so flipping quickly. The Game Awards, it happened. It happened on the night that we were recording the Halo stuff, so it's old news at this point. The biggest news is Game of the Year, It Takes Two, which has not yet been renamed because of 2K suing and stuff over the name, which is ridiculous.
And this is on my list of things I really want to play over Christmas. I think from everything I've seen, really well deserved, and it's great to see a game that's a little off the beaten track get a nod for this. Brilliant stuff. Really chuffed to hear that this game got their Game of the Year award.
Just like to point out, this game came out. I was prepared to buy it and see if one of you two would play it, but I wanted to make sure first. I'm not doing, what was it called? No Way Out again. I'm not buying the game for not being able to play it because no one wants to play it with me. No one volunteered, so I didn't buy it. And then it came to Game Pass, and I suggested it, and you poo-pooed the idea.
I said I'd play with you.
And then it wins Game of the Year, and what do I get? But a message from Tim saying, "Let's play It Takes Two."
Wow, throw him
You're a
under
sheep,
the bus.
Tim. You're a damn sheep.
I said we should possibly play it before, we do our Game of the Year, nominations and things, but hey. Maybe not.
You see Game of the Year, and you follow along, you sheeple.
I also want to try and get
really cold, man.
The Forgotten
Really.
City played, but I didn't play much of that either, but hey.
That's fine. I just want to have a go, Tim. Best game direction, Deathloop. Best narrative, Guardians of the Galaxy. Best art direction, Deathloop again, which is well-deserved because that's got a really cool style.
Absolutely.
Best score music, Near Replicant version 1.22474487139.
No, you don't have to go through the whole title.
I just did.
I know you did.
Best audio design, Forza Horizon 5.
Yes,
Best
for the menu music alone.
Yeah. Best performance, Maggie Robertson from Resident Evil Village, who is the tall woman, which doesn't quite it makes sense in that everyone gravitated towards that character before the game even came out, but it doesn't make sense in that she is not the best actor in that entire game.
No.
But she got the most publicity, so I'm assuming that everyone just went for it.
Wow, meow, come saucer about the table too.
Heisenberg's the best character in that game. Games for Impact, Life is Strange True Colors, Best Ongoing Game, Final Fantasy 14 online. Roman numerals are hard.
That's a funny spelling of Destiny 2, just saying.
Rocky doesn't go that high. I don't know those ones. Best indie game, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Best debut indie game, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Best mobile game, Genshin Impact. Best community support, Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Again,
Best
they misspelled
AR
Destiny.
VR game, Resident Evil 4. That's a bit weird. Best
Apparently very good
innovation
on what's the name? Oculus.
Yes, what's the name?
That's not,
I
that's
hear
not
it's
Oculus
excellent
anymore.
on what's the name.
I can't help it. They renamed it to something stupid.
Metaface.
Metaface.
Metaface. Metaface.
Metaface. I mean, I hear that good. I hear Resident Evil 4 is very good in VR, but it makes the game way too easy in VR at the same time. Innovation and accessibility would be Forza Horizon 5. Best action game, Returnal. Best action adventure game, Metroid Dread. Best RPG, Tales Arise. Best fighting game, Guilty Gear Strive, which I hear is brilliant. Best family game, It Takes Two. Best sports/racing game, Forza Horizon 5. Best sim strategy game, Age of Empires 4. Best multiplayer game, It Takes Two. Best content creator of the year, Dream. A bunch of esports stuff, but they've got silly names, so I'm not even going to bother saying it. And that will be all the awards that aren't esports from Game Awards this year.
You're not going to give DJ Scrobbler Doubler a shout out?
Olken, Sada, DJ Spoiler, Dovler, Sokar, Yavilarum from CSGO. He's the best in all categories.
He is.
Oh, sorry. Most anticipated game, which is a ridiculous award to give out. Elden Ring.
Yep. No surprises there at all.
Yeah. It's just a silly award to get. I mean, a lot of these awards are very silly, including the ridiculous amount of esports awards that now get given out. But it's a silly show in itself.
Esports, because like us, you're an old man.
I don't like esports. I'm not an old man compared to you.
What's your beef with the esports?
Just not into it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Too much ease for you.
And I tell you, esports and that bloody blockchain, the non-fungible tokens. What's that about?
I guess I'm just a little bit old school in the fact that the idea is video game awards, you give them to the video games, not the people playing the video games. I mean, you could do the best esports game each year, and it will be CSGO probably every year, or Dota or something. But, because you release a new game with the intention of esports, but if everyone's playing one esport game, then they'll go, oh, it's that one. It's that one every year. That
award's not to gain your interest, Coleman. They want as many people's interest as possible, and they have gathered together multiple interests.
I know, and the way that they gather multiple people's interests is mostly commercials and a lot of Chinese company-funded video games in this year's Video Game Awards. But there are too many to talk about, although I will give a quick nod to Cuphead's DLC being The Delicious Last Course, because
that's a good
DLC.
Name.
That's quite funny. Yeah. There are some games...
Devilishly Long Chipmunk also spells DLC.
There are some games that have been shown off and the ones that we want to talk about. So we've picked a select few out of this lot. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I just wanted to say it's a really good looking game. When they did the initial release trailer, because I immediately went back and went, do you know what? I remember being really impressed by the release trailer and not so impressed by the gameplay trailer. And they do the whole, this is all done on an Xbox Series X. And then you look at the fluid motions in the face and go, that's almost life-like. It's insane. And then go to Hellblade 2. And while impressive too, isn't as good as the initial trailer. So just because they write this is captured on whatever console doesn't mean that
doesn't mean much.
Yeah. So, but a lot of these video game trailers are pre-rendered cutscene type trailers as well. So, but yes, Hellblade 2 is looking really good. I'm looking forward to that. I should really go back and finish the first one. I should go back and finish the first one. I got a little bit bored in that. Yeah. Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dreams.
David Cage.
I like me a Quantic Dream game. I like me a Star Wars game. I don't like Quantic Dream particularly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're doing with Quantic Dream at the moment. Generally, how much we want to be promoting their game.
I have to say it was stunning in its lack of anything other than look at the shiny thing, look at the shiny thing, look at the shiny. It's Star Wars. You like Star Wars. We're not going to have anything in here. We're just going to have dramatic shots of people looking a bit grumpy.
And
It's
drums.
a beautiful
Space
looking
drums.
trailer that makes it. It's a very exciting looking Star Wars trailer. You got everything in there. You got some Yoda. You got some droids. You got some. Oh, you got some Trade Federation embargoes. You got some Yoda.
Oh, I really hope they don't do the same accents as the film.
You got some lightsaber fights. It's Quantic Dream, of course. There'll be even more Asian racists.
God, wow.
They'll put a gong
Is there gonna
underneath
be
them talking. You know,
completely unwarranted nudity at some point, probably.
Yep.
maybe, who knows? But
Galactic
no, I'm more
Trade
excited.
Federation shower scene coming up.
Oh, mate.
Quantic Dreams and David
Oh, they
Cage
can
be
unblock my
damned.
embargo
I
any day of the
do
week.
like their games, and I'm just interested to see
do,
if this
but,
will be,
yeah.
another one of their games in a Star Wars bow wrapped around it, or if this will be a new type of game from Quantic Dream. Who knows?
I think it's very likely to be the former.
Yeah.
Those two things.
I also think
I'm assuming so.
it's probably a good thing this is a couple of years away, because then we'll have, hopefully, swept under the rug, or sorry, not actually swept under the rug, like dealt with the problems at the
Poor
studio.
choice of words, Tim.
Yes, it's
Wowza.
not the words I meant. Not swept under the rug, but actually dealt with the problems that they've got at the studio by then, so that we can hopefully get excited about the game. Because I don't know about you, there was a lot of talk about a lot of people getting really excited about their game until they saw the logo at the end. And I think they knew exactly what they were doing by sticking the logo at the end of that trailer, not the beginning. Which, yeah.
I did the same. I've got to admit, I went, oh, this looks really. Oh. All right, I'm still kind of excited, I guess. Whether what the future holds, time will tell, and whether they're allowed to lie in court or not. Wonder Woman, from the creators of the Lord of the Rings, what are those games called? I've forgotten the name. Shadow of Mordor?
Shadow Mordor.
Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. So this is a
Are we going to
Wonder
see the
Woman game
Nemesis
that contains.
system with Wonder Woman?
It's meant to have the Nemesis system in some form, so it'll be interesting to see how they use that. Scrolls. I mean, judging by the voiceover in the trailer, I think this is going to take place on the island Terrascura, or whatever it's called.
Tiramisu.
Tiramisu Alata. So I'm assuming you'll be fighting maybe Hades or Ares minions rather than Skrulls or something. Something a bit more Greek mythology. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yes, I'm wondering how they do the Nemesis system this time, because previously it was about, in the first Shadow of Mordor game, it was about attacking an enemy. If they got away, you would then be their enemy, and they would become more powerful, scarred by you, and exact revenge is the idea. And then in the second use of the Nemesis system, it was kind of done the other way, which was about more gaining allies and trust, rather than in conjunction with the whole enemy Nemesis system. So I'm interested to see what they do with it, if there's a third iteration, or if they're just doing the Lord of the Rings stuff with the Wonder Woman stuff. So we'll see that in the future, hopefully. Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
This prompted me to go, wow, there was a Alan Wake 1 collectors or remasters or whatever the hell it was called that came out recently.
They didn't do much remastering, mate, I tell you that.
Oh, well, it was 25 quid, so I've bought that, and I'm going to play through that ready for Alan Wake 2.
I mean, it's still a good game. It's still a good game. Can I just say, I just clicked on the link to have a look at the trailer for Alan Wake. Google is wanting to verify my age and for me to send a photo of my ID card.
Well,
Really?
the reason for that, Dan, is because where the first... Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I haven't seen
ID card.
ID card.
So
How
Google
old are
putting
you?
it. I am 11-5. That's how old I am. I'm
your
a
back
very,
cards
get your
I am a
bones.
very hairy 5-year-old. I'm an exceptionally hairy 5-year-old.
Cut your leg off and count the rings. Right, anyway, Alan Wake, that was more of a... It was kind of given this horror setting, but it was a bit more Twin Peaks in the story, but more action-adventure kind of style side, with this weird battery draining gimmick of torches and stuff. Alan Wake 2 is meant to be full-on survival horror.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to get through Alan Wake 1 and then get to Alan Wake 2. Unfortunately, Alan Wake released the same year as Red Dead Redemption, so my my whole attention kind of got poured into Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption Online. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Did you have one, Tim?
You kind of, yeah, like that was probably highlights of what was there for me as well a little bit. I mean, we've talked more about Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, but that trailer there looked very impressive. I will say that was probably one of my standouts. Forspoken, like, not to give away too much, but we spoke about that in an upcoming show as well, so I won't kind of dwell on that too much.
No, that's in the future. It didn't happen yet.
Okay, we will discuss that in the future, maybe.
Timothy.
No, Tim, Owen Wilson will come and delete us.
And yeah, like, I was intrigued by Nightingale. Not necessarily my sort of game, but I liked the kind of Victorian era setting type thing, and just the fact that it was a load of ex-Bungie people. So even though it's not usually my style of game, it kind of tweaked my interest, so I might keep an eye on that one as well.
Tweaked your interest rather than piqued your interest?
Yep, tweaked it.
How did it? Ooh, lovely.
Ooh,
did it tickled your attention?
Yeah.
Is there any love for Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2? Because that seems to be going down very well online.
I remember the first Eurogamer Expo thing that I went to with John.
He's going to monologue.
John and Kev.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, they just started playing it and loved it and were yelling the word Space Marine for most of the time we were there for the whole fight. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I played a little bit of it.
That was the OnLive one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was on OnLive at one stage. I played a little bit of it at one stage, but I never really got deep into it enough to see why everyone loved it quite as much. Be interested to see this one, maybe. Everyone says it's a good Warhammer game, and there haven't been enough of those, but my preferred Warhammer game has always been like a Space Hulk turn-based strategy type thing, so yeah, well.
That's fine. I think, if I remember, I'd never played Space Marine. If I remember rightly from other people talking about it, Gears of War, Warhammer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gears of Warhammer.
Gears of Warhammer. Good.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that one for free, Games Workshop.
Good.
I'm surprised you didn't highlight
Rumbleverse. Terrible. Well, hold on.
I do want to hear
Rumbleverse,
you talk about Rumbleverse, though. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rumbleverse, which the trailer does not do it justice, unfortunately. It was only because I was listening to Giant Bomb earlier, and they were talking about playing the game and how good it is. Rumbleverse is a battle royale type game, which I've never got into. I haven't played any of those games, Fortnite or PUBG or anything like that at all. Also, PUBG's gone free to play, by the way. But this is a
PUBG's
wrestling
Battlegrounds,
themed,
which makes no sense. But anyway.
Yeah, this is a wrestling-themed battle royale game, which you're in an open city, but you're all wrestling-themed characters and use weapons and stuff, but the controls are meant to be very similar to kind of the N64, No Mercy, WWF 2000, WrestleMania 2000 games. So, upon listening to and then checking out some gameplay about Rumbleverse, I instantly went and pre-ordered this game. So I am waiting. I think it's going to release. Yeah, I think it's going to release free to play. But if you buy the starter kit for like £15, I think it is, then you get early access to the game, and then you'll get a bunch of extras and currencies and what have you thrown in when it releases in February. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Rumbleverse.
Because I mean, you're probably right. I don't think the trailer's probably going to do it justice.
Trailer's terrible. It looks like one of those crappy mobile games for like
I was going to say
say
it's like, it just looks like button mashing Royale more than anything else. But you know, I hope there's some kind of nuance to it in there, because I could see how I mean, I'll take Giant Bomb usually are pretty on point with these things, so I'll take the word for it.
Is it PC only at the moment, Mr. Coleman?
It's PC, PS5,
and
PS4.
Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and is it coming to Switch?
And previous gens.
What did you get it on?
No Switchy Switch.
PS5.
PS5.
Damn it.
Ooh.
I mean, it's £15, Dan. I'll double dip on PC if you want to have a go with me. Or I'll go practice on PlayStation 5, and then when it goes free to play, then we can do PC together.
Oh, there we go. Free to play Brawler Royale.
Thirsty Suitors is essentially Scott Pilgrim from another part of the world, which you're fighting your exes, and there's music, rhythm-based stuff, and beat-em-up type stuff, and that really excites me. It's a really cool-looking trailer, so that immediately caught my attention.
Is that the one with the lead character who's skateboards and then cooks and fights, basically?
Yeah, it's cooking and fighting, and that those are two things I like the sound of.
So basically,
two
Christmas.
of your favourites, Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like making curries and fighting your exes. Weird kind of food, music, Scott Pilgrim type game. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, it did look really good.
That caught my interest.
The developer of that
Among Us VR trailer looked really weirdly scary.
Okay, the developer of Thirsty Suitors made Falcon Age, I believe, on PSVR.
Yes.
But yeah,
looks good.
Looks interesting.
Anything else in the lineup from the Game Awards that you wanted to talk about?
I mean,
no.
Elden Ring, still looking good.
I mean, there was Destiny 2 in there, The Witch King, Dan.
We've had enough Destiny 2 for Tim.
Are you sure?
I'm surprised.
Truly,
Coleman, I'm surprised
Tim
you
will
didn't
have
highlight
a dirty
Sonic
protest.
as one of your highlights. No?
I'm just not bothered about Sonic at the moment. That's all.
Okay.
There was the movie in there. Idris Elba plays Knuckles. I like the look of that.
That looks funny.
Sexy Idris Elba Knuckles. That's fine. Telling me what's available on Sky Movies. That's okay.
Lovely.
We can do that.
I'm doing an open world Sonic.
So what else is in the news? He says, glancing at the time.
Yeah, there was a Nintendo Indie World showcase today, or yesterday, in fact, as we're recording. I highlighted a couple of things on there. Sea of Stars, which looks very old school Final Fantasy, and it's meant to be a prequel to The Messenger, but you don't need to have played Messenger to get along with the story. And because it is Switch, which is a very accessible platform for old school RPGs like this, immediately caught my interest. This is meant to be out this month. Next year in December at some point, I would assume, for holiday 2022. So I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that. Summer 2022, Locomotive, which is a brand new point-and-click game.
Yeah.
And I do like me a point-and-click game, but it's a point-and-click murder mystery.
Yeah, that's what appeals to me. Look quite cute, and I like a murder mystery, so yeah.
Yeah. There was a few things. There was a couple of games that are out now. You can get Dungeon Munchies, which is a weird kind of side-scrolling beat-em-up dungeon crawler where you cook your enemies you've defeated. Let's Play Oink Games, which is a collection of board games, or tabletop games from Oink Games.
Yes, funny enough, I own that. Because I backed it on Kickstarter, and they sent me the code yesterday as they announced the fact that the game came out on this. I was like, oh, okay.
Excellent.
Because literally when they made the announcement, I was like, I backed that on Kickstarter. Where's my code? And they sent it out straight away when it actually came out. But yeah, it's a collection of 4 little games. It was 3 games when I backed it on Kickstarter, but they added an extra one on what's the name? All of
lucky.
All of the Oink games kind of come in a little tiny box. They fit in a small box. They're kind of small box games, but they're generally pretty good and of a high standard. I own one called Deepsea Adventure already. This is the digital version of that, and a few of their other popular games. I haven't actually played it yet, so maybe I'll talk about it in the future. But yeah, I backed it on Kickstarter, so that should tell you that I kind of believed in this thing. Hopefully, they've made good digital
Another
versions,
investment panned out, Tim.
but they are good games anyway. So yeah, I'll report back on that in the future.
Yeah. Other ones that are out right now are Chicory, A Colourful Tale, which I think's out on PC already.
That's supposed to be very
looks
good.
Really interesting kind of. Yeah, I'm very tempted into getting that one, but kind of monochromatic world which you paint along in the way and is meant to have a really nice story to it. Really interesting art style. and Timely, which is 2 characters, different times, different physics, weird, confusing timeline stuff. I like the look of that too. But yeah, I think if I was going to pick anything that's out right now, probably Chicory, A Colourful Tale. And the tabletop one from Tim, I'm guessing.
Yeah, as I said, I haven't checked out whether they're good digital versions. I'll report back on that in the future. But the games themselves are good. I can say that much.
I'm surprised you didn't want to chat about River City Girls too. You're a big fan of what's it called? Girls You Perv.
Wow.
I'm guessing you meant to say side-scrolling beat-em-ups.
Hey, buddy. I hear you like
that too as well, I guess.
I never got around to playing the first one, not through a lack of necessarily wanting to, but I think it just came up again, released at times when my attention was focused elsewhere, and I just never went back to it. But yeah, like the first one was supposed to be good. I don't know about the second one, but yeah, we'll see in the future. Okay.
Yeah, apparently this one's made in such a way that you can go straight into 2. But yeah, summer 2022, that's all. There's a bunch of stuff. And all really like colourful, quirky looking, dare I say, a little bit hipstery looking stuff in the indie showcase. Nothing too dark and distressing. I think there's one game where you're playing a guy whose girlfriend died, but even that looks
really like
colourful, quirky, and... Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that was I think it was called Afterlove EP, and you're playing a guy who's a musician, and his girlfriend died, and then he doesn't want to make music anymore, and it's kind of inspiring him to make music again. But even so, it's a very uplifting, colourful looking game in the way it's presented and the way it's made. But again, because of the story type concept, it's one of those type things when, if you remember that Dragon Cancer was a game that came out and got all these awards and all this praise, and it's like, what's this about? Oh, these people's child died of cancer. It's like, I'm never going to play this game. I don't need that in my life. Yeah. I'm upset enough.
Yeah, I kind of want some escapism in my escapism worlds, I'm afraid. But yeah.
Right, we've got 3 headlines, and we are going to have to get through them super quick because we're running out of time.
Yes, we are.
So, Ubisoft, they have finally announced a new Splinter Cell game, and would you believe it? It's a remake of Splinter Cell, the original.
What a surprise.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. Apparently, it's not going to be open world, which a lot of the rumors were saying. It will be done by Ubisoft Toronto, and it will come out sometime in 2022, possibly because of the 20th anniversary. And it will be remade in the Snowdrop engine, which this is where the open world rumors started, because that is used for The Division.
Hey.
Yeah, I never played through the original Splinter Cell. I think I started with Pandora's Tomorrow, so I'd give this a go, I guess.
mean, a lot of time was spent just jumping up and doing that splits thing and then hanging around above pipes.
No, I did that in real life.
But... Just hanging out with Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme, yeah?
Exactly. PlayStation have acquired Valkyrie Entertainment. That has been announced this week. Now, if you don't know who they are, probably you wouldn't know who they were. They do a lot of PC ports, but also they're kind of an assisting studio. They worked on God of War 2018. They worked on Forza Motorsport 7 and the very recent Halo Infinite. So that seems like a pretty big get for PlayStation. Also, I think it's like the 5th acquisition they've made this year of new studios. Although I think one of those is Bluepoint, and they've still not announced that they've acquired Bluepoint. They just accidentally leaked it on one of their channels and have never admitted it since. So maybe they're going to announce that with a new game. Who knows?
Yeah, they do seem to be buying a lot of kind of enabler companies, or kind of, companies that you can kind of farm things out to a little bit. Not people that are coming up with their own original IPs and original ideas necessarily, kind of thing. More kind of support studios for their existing studios kind of idea.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's the 2 different tactics that PlayStation and Xbox are taking. Xbox seems to be picking up people to go, here's a bunch of IPs that can launch on Game Pass, and they belong to us now. Whereas PlayStation seem to be going, okay, we're kind of expanding into PC. So we're getting people that can work with PC. So who knows? And then the big one, and I think this is the big one because it proved me wrong in a lot of ways. So as we know, Sony have taken down a couple of websites over their intended idea of selling replacement covers for the PlayStation 5 in different colors. A lot of people wanted the PlayStation 5 in black. They still want the PlayStation 5 in black. Dark Plates being the most recent one, they went, hey, we can do you faceplates in black. Here you go. And PlayStation went, no, we patented those covers. You can't have those covers. Those are our covers. And
you can't handle those covers.
Okay, you can't handle the covers. And Dark Plates went, well, here's Dark Plates 2.0. Also, we're in a legal dispute with Sony at the moment. Please fund us.
Dark Plates 2,
us.
now 3,000% uglier.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Where do I sign up?
I really did think that this was going to lead into, rather than Sony going, we're not letting you sell replacement covers because we're going to sell replacement covers, they went, we're going to sell PlayStation 5s with different covers to them, so you'd have to buy a whole thing like you would in the previous generation. Turns out, PlayStation 5 covers, they have been announced from Sony. There's going to be 5 different colors, red, purple, black, blue, or pink. The black and the red, they are the same colors as the controllers that have been released. So the red doesn't really look like red. It looks kind of crimson, weird, shimmy, slightly bit of purple in there. It's not a red I want, damn it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But the other cosmic colors, the blue and the pink and the purple, they look quite nice. And apparently when those faceplates release, they're going to do new controllers in those colors as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. I am still in the idea they were totally going to go, you can't get these faceplates unless you buy the consoles. If it wasn't for people screaming out for replacement faceplates, they would not have got down this route. I honestly 100% believe that.
I do wonder if they had to kind of, with bearing in mind the noise they've made about it, to stave off any retaliatory legal action, if they actually had to say, all right, fine, we are going to do something with this rather than just a cock-blocking move.
I think they had this plan all along. I think you can kind of see that in the design. That's why I kind of argued with you when you said this previously. But I also think even if that wasn't the case, they were more likely to have been pushed down this path by the fact that there's a massive chip shortages and it's probably easier to manufacture plastic covers than it is to manufacture new consoles at the moment, basically. And at least it's another source of revenue.
That is a good point. So, that is a very good point. There may have been a let's hold off until this is available. Oh, it's still not available. Okay, because when we're talking about like last Christmas when you couldn't get a PlayStation,
when I gave you my heart,
exactly, or a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X,
right?
Very next day,
there was the whole
PlayStation
thing about chip shortages about them, and these companies were looking very hopeful towards the future that they'll be able to get you your Xboxes and your PlayStations. And even, only a few months ago, PlayStation were going, we're sure you'll get a PlayStation for your Christmas present. It's fine. We're gonna ship a load over. We're gonna choplift a load over specially. It's gonna be fine. The video game choplifter. Imagine that, but with instead of patience, PlayStation 5s. We're gonna do that. We're gonna hit the button on the mouse to make it go up and down.
I mean,
it's gonna arrive. I'm going on a tangent.
A few on sale.
Yeah. It is that
literally a few.
Yeah. That's happened, but PlayStation, they basically got a big stock order in to go, okay, here's all your PlayStations for Christmas. And then immediately, as soon as they've gone, it looks like we've got no PlayStations for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think the latest one has been Prime. They've gone, okay, Amazon have gone, if you want a PlayStation or an Xbox, then go through Prime. If you're a Prime member, we'll sell it to you. But I'm sure they will sell out super quick as well, unless they limit to one per customer, which they really should do in this day and age of our Lord 2021. That is all the news we have time for this week.
Okay.
Wow, I think that's about all we have time for, full stop, to be honest with you.
I'm running out of juice.
You have run out of juice. So since you've run out of juice, shall we wind down for the show? Yes. Let's.
Tim, do you have a charity you want to shout out this week?
Yes. Slightly different one this week. But I forgot to do more research on him, which is why I was kind of chastising myself just then as well. But Able Gamers, I'll give a shout out as well. Just
don't do that. The camera turned on, mate.
Similar work to as we discussed in previous weeks, special effect. But yeah, generally, Able Gamers kind of, doing good work as well. So go and look those people up and give them some love and attention. And if you can, some money as well. But yeah, as I said, I meant to go and do a bit more to exactly prod you in a direction, but I'm sure if you Google Able Gamers, you'll be able to find more details on them. So go do that.
Good. Able Gamers, there will be a link in the show notes to get yourself over to Able
Thanks
Gamers
very much,
and
Mr.
donate
Coleman.
some money or get involved in some form. That's fine. Also, in the show notes, there are links to there is a link to BigRedBarel.com where you can find our comment section for this here episode. You can also find links to our Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Facebook and Twitter are Big Red Barrel, and at YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV. Again, links available in the show notes for all of those things. Find them there. And there also, if you go to our Discord, I mean, you can do it on anything really, but we prefer Discord. You can give us a question. You could say, I have a question, and Chorus the Gamer. Oh, it's specifically aimed at you, I think, Tim. He says, have you had any more troubling updates on your PlayStation 5
Have
recently?
you had troubling updates?
Troubling updates. Well, we discussed the fact that it did an update as it was turning off, which, as far as I'm aware, is unusual. It's kind of a forced update turning off rather than a opt-into update when turning on, which is generally the format. But also, I was complaining about having power cuts and stuff. I must say, since that time, I've had a review game that I've played on Switch, and I've been playing Halo Infinite. So I haven't had as much time on it, but I have kind of been in and out of the PS5. We didn't get time to talk about The Matrix this week, but I did play that on the PS5. So I've had...
That's coming.
Have gone in and out. I haven't, so far, touch wood, had any additional problems with it, not blue screening, but turning itself off and then having to rebuild the hard drive and everything when it turns itself back on just when putting it into rest mode. I haven't had that problem since that update, so I'm hoping that has fixed things. But yeah, as I said,
okay,
cool.
Be interested to know if other people have had similar problems, because I have heard of other people doing so as well. So,
I've started seeing more and more people reporting this stuff online. I saw Bob Wolf do it on Twitter the other day, and I tried to kind of go, hey, I had this problem too, and then it ended up with a factory reset because the thing stopped starting. But I think I misspelt it wrong. Maybe I was very tired, who knows? But yeah, I'm seeing it more and more often reported, which is funny because at the time when I reported it, a lot of people were then going, hey, this isn't an issue. And then I Googled something like I think I Googled Power Star PlayStation 5 or something, and then you looked at the responses on Twitter and went, oh, this is a big issue that no one is reporting on. And then seemingly forgot when Tim started reporting on it.
Yeah, and hopefully it's something that has been quietly dealt with. But people that have lived through the 360 Red Ring of Death era, like myself, and suffered my way through that quite a lot, that's something that, I'm slightly cautious of. But also mentioning that this week, there's an excellent Xbox documentary that covers the Red Ring of Death and many other things throughout the life of Xbox that you can download on your Xbox or watch on YouTube. And I've watched a good part of that. It's a really good documentary. So if you hadn't watched that already, you should go do so.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I haven't had troubling updates, but I had a power cut today, and I really thought that I'd shorted out the two hard drives on both the PlayStation 5s here. So that was a terrifying, bum-clenching 5 minutes while I was trying to sort that out.
Well, I mean, your bum does clench if you plug yourself into mains electricity, Coleman.
So hard. Yeah. Reviews if you can. Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Stitcher, and Castbox. You can give us a nice review. We'll look at that review, and if it's a nice review, we'll read it out. I mean, if it's a horrible one, we might read it out and laugh at you.
But if it's a horrible one but funny, we might read it out anyway. Especially if you give us 5 stars.
I mean, if it's a horrible one... Yeah, if it's a horrible one and you give us 5 stars, we'll still read it out. That's absolutely fine. You know.
We have no standards.
We'll do anything for 5 stars.
We do anything for stars.
Yep.
Anything. You can find us all, Big Red Barrel, at Big Red Barrel on Twitter. Dan is at Captain Average. I am at Dammit Coleman. Tim is at BRB.
I check Twitter
Tim.
once a year.
Dan checks Twitter once a year. I check it. I just sometimes don't reply.
I check it far too often and complain about governments and other things.
Tim
occasionally talk about
Twitter
games there
lot.
as well, but you know.
Yeah. I had a moan on Twitter yesterday because I missed all the Spider-Man spoilers and accidentally got Hawkeye spoiled for me, which someone, Tyrus then came back and went, mate, stay off TikTok. And I really wanted to write, that's fine, I'm not a 14-year-old girl.
Wow.
And then I remember people are increasingly using TikTok, but I am not in the demographic for TikTok at all. So
yeah,
that's fine.
There's definitely an age thing there or something. I just, like, TikTok was a bridge too far for me. I'm just like, no. If a TikTok video is really that good, it'll make it onto Twitter. I don't need another social media platform.
It'll get ripped and stuck on YouTube Shorts.
I don't even want the ones I have. Like, I don't need more.
Dan, take us home.
Right, we are going to go now because I'm very confused about modern social media. I've now officially reached the age where such things confuse me.
You do this with your arm, and it's called a dab.
Less
social
social media,
Wow.
please. Less social media.
Hey,
This
Coleman,
is-
you are down with the kids.
This is
what you are.
flossing. Flossing.
Really?
Dan.
That looks like
Yep.
you've got like kind of a bit of a Klingon situation going on there. But anyway,
That's flossing with a towel.
nice, lovely.
Nice.
Anyway, we're going to go now because we should, and any more of this nonsense is frankly unwarranted. So thank you ever so much for downloading us. We are going to try and do our best to keep you filled to the brim with podcasting goodness over the festive period. So it's not the last you'll hear from us this year, or indeed early into next. So
Oh, damn, we're on a hollybobs, aren't we?
we are on Hollybobs.
We'll be away for a while.
Yeah.
Which is good, because Dan has
Absolutely.
got a lot of time to fill pleasuring space horses.
Yeah, I do.
Ding dong.
I mean, it's not even a lie.
Yeah.
It's not even a lie. So thanks for that,
Wait.
Tim.
Where is it? Here we go. Did you say pleasuring space horses?
Yeah, son. Alrighty. All right, chaps. It's time for us to go. All that's really left is to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I've been Coleman.
Yeah, you have. And you've been listening to the show, so thank you ever so much. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Can you say horse dong
Really,
in that
truly.
voice?
Horse
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
You can ask me about the Spartans. You can ask me about the Prometheus. You can ask me about the.
Okay, what's Master Chief's surname?
Ask me about the. Oh, Master Chief. That's easy. His name's John Spartan.